So hello, my name is Marin de Viry, and I'm director of private partnerships for Positive Planet. And when we were thinking about the end of poverty, and I was told I had 12 minutes in which to talk about it, I tried to think about what to say and what the programs we run throughout the world. And in fact, if we had to launch collective action, that everybody can be involved in, citizens, individuals, institutions, private or public, in order to be able to find levers for acceleration for getting out of poverty. How would I try to summarize this? In fact, I have three main ideas, simple ideas, for an application nonetheless, which are difficult to apply. And the first idea is the idea of better using capitalistic levers. We don't invest enough in production capacity of the poor. Throughout the world, you have all sorts of institutions who support the exploitation of the poorer people, but don't invest enough in order for them to grow, their production capacity, and to enable poor people, or let's not say poor, let's say developing nations, for them to be able to grow their own production. Getting out of poverty when you're a small producer. Let's imagine, for example, a patchouli producer in Indonesia or rose in Turkey, means you have to think about having a house, you have to have health insurance, you have to have access to energy, water, food. And this means having activity, which means you can make a revenue and anticipate all of this. All of this cannot happen unless there are not only there's an activity that generates revenue, but also the ability to have savings. And this can only happen when additional revenue is significant. And sometimes microfinance and subsidiaries reach a limit because, in fact, they can't be productive investment. With many of our programs, we've realized that in order to get over a certain threshold of productivity, the one which adds added value, what we have to do, for example, is we may need, for example, sometimes 500 or 1,000 extra hectares of land that need to be financed, for example. And that sometimes one needs to be able to cope with holes in the treasury and problems with the harvest. There's often not enough investing capacity enabled to cover all of these, and particularly in the agricultural sectors and also artisanal ones. What we want to do is find levers, which means that we can increase productive investment in poorer populations. The second lever is a lever which particularly concerns private businesses, but big private businesses. And I think the destiny of many millions of people internationally could be a lot better if there were three concepts which could be realized: durability, sustainability, and the idea of responsibility. If these three concepts were adhered to, and then this would help things advance. Let me tell you what I mean. Durability. What is this? Durability is accepting the fact that you've got to think long term. This concerns thinking. So thinking about how financial people think about return on investment. So we talk about durability. We don't necessarily talk about durability, but in reality, within businesses, durability means accepting that returns on investment will take a little longer than they normally are expected to take. Sustainability. What is that? It means that when one works on sustaining production channels in private business, and this is the last link, because this is the last link with the final consumer. When you're working on this, what you have to do is you have to make sure that all the players are profitable. This is sustainability, or the idea of sustainability into a financial idea. So first of all, think about financial investment lasting over a longer time. It means that all the different chains are involved in sustainability, and in fact, responsibility is not just being environmentally or socially responsible. It's also accepting the fact that actors within the whole chain should be much more responsible for within this supply chain and removing intermediaries. So, for example, L'Oréal, Procter & Gamble, Unilever, etc. I am sure they're all sincere in their actions. But what they have to do is they have to start off with the marketing of the products, and they have to apply this to the production and apply it also to their purchasing departments and their financial departments. And if there are fewer people in charge of corporate and social responsibility and sustainability, and more integration of the concept within the actual real-life departments within a company, then we will be able to move forward and we'll be able to remodel all these different departments, and right from the production lines, which are part of large Western corporations. So this is a very key theme to my idea, because for about the past 10 years, maybe a little more, there are people who are trying to affect this, and some people are moving faster than others. But I don't think there are enough concrete examples of the integration of these concepts within major corporations. So that was the second lever. The third lever is the war against poverty, and the fight against poverty is a lever concerning the methodology and perhaps the private area. NGOs could be able to work a little more effectively. It means that if you're going to fight against poverty locally, it is a war that has to be undertaken in a holistic manner. It's cultural as much as financial. If you want to go from poor to not poor, you've got to change the reference framework. So if you want to have respect, you want to get out of, once you're emancipated, the relationship with time and activities is extremely different. So it's a cultural war. You have to prepare populations, as we would say, we would have to say that those who benefit from our programs, there has to be a lot of financial education on these key ideas, such as the separation between heritage and exploitation, the separation between private and public funding, the idea of managing funds. That's the first things. And management styles. That's a cultural job that needs to be done. And we have a lot of programs that involve this financial education, but the war should be attacked on two fronts. First of all, attack structure, make sure that there should be financial organizations, collective organizations, and there should be more and more cooperatives and never mind anonymous sort of never mind, doesn't matter about the legal way that they're described and created, but there should be these entities. We want to be able to get them all together so that they can invest and transfer their expertise, so that we can encourage economic progress. The second point is to create structures, and realize that cultural change can come about. And then the last point is about financing, the financing of the value chains, as for example, think about rose production in Turkey, as patchouli in Indonesia. It's always very specific. and adapted to the needs of how these crops are exploited, adapted as well to the capitalistic requirements of this exploitation, and should become more coherent with the structure and culture. And the third point for me, which is another way of getting out of poverty more quickly, is the method. Locally, the fight against poverty is a fight which is systemic and total. It's better to say it like this. It's a gentler way of putting it. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening to me.